yeah, check that out.
Yeah, see? On air, man. On air.
No shit. I probably shouldn't get my dick out, huh?
Well, I mean, that's a standard old man thing. So,
Well, so is crap in your pants, but I don't do that either.
speaking of which, you got a old man topic to talk about or what?
Little bit, just some complaints and grievances.
I got a lot of problems with you people.
It's not necessarily. It's not necessarily the people. So we touched on it a little bit, I think, last time, whether everything's a fucking service. Well, everything's a goddamn service until it's not. Okay, so let's take a look at Amazon Prime. All right. So back in the day, Amazon Prime, you know, you paid like it was like $130, $140, and you got free 2-day shipping, among like other things. You could peruse their freaking video library and whatnot. And then they have the unmitigated gall to go ahead and they take away the fucking 2-day shipping. I'm sorry, like, that was the whole point of the thing. That was where all of the value of the website was in that 2-day shipping. So that way I could get this shit and I can get it quick and I don't have to worry about it being delayed and this and that. And now that's gone. And now it takes me the better part of a fucking week for me to get anything, or sometimes longer than a week. Shit, I'm still waiting on stuff from my parents for Christmas. Yeah. So I don't know whether that shit burned up in California or what the fuck happened there. But, yeah.
That's insane. Well, actually, I can bitch about that too, because I bought my dad an oscilloscope, which I'd call it.
It's the waveform Duha.
Yeah, it produces waveforms. He's got I bought him like a 2-channel, probably like 10 years ago. Now he wants a 4-channel. Whoop-de-doo, right? And so I bought it for him. It said it wasn't 2-day. I have the Prime account enabled, so it should have been motherfucking 2-day. But said it would come. I bought it on like Sunday. Said it would come Tuesday, type of thing. Or I bought it on like, Friday, Saturday, something like that. And it said it would come on Tuesday. So Tuesday comes and goes. Says, oh, sorry, we're running behind. Okay, cool, no big deal. Wednesday, no delivery Wednesday. Then I get an alert saying we attempted to deliver it. Now you've seen my parents' house. They got a front porch. Everybody knows you can leave it on the front porch. So I didn't believe that at all. There was no.
They didn't. It's on the truck, and the guy just kind of ticked it off because he didn't want to turn the fucking truck around.
I don't think they want, because it said it was in Erie, right? I mean, like the hub is in Erie, I guess. So it's like, holy shit, who wants to drive from
the hub should be in Buffalo.
Erie to Salamanca sucks ass. I mean, I would totally be.
Yeah, that's an hour and a half.
Yeah, completely. So
I think you just wiped my camera.
No, you'll come back in a second. I see you here, so.
Okay.
We're parsing in and out. But
goddamn fucking technology, it never works when you need it to fucking work.
It does that again.
It never works when you want it to fucking work.
Keep talking. So it said if it doesn't come by, like, say Friday, call us back, we'll reorder it for you, which fucking sucks, right? Okay, cool. Friday comes. And he's excited about it. He's like a fucking kid on Christmas morning. Has it come yet? Has it come yet? And I gotta keep going. No, says it hasn't. Says it hasn't, right? And so it finally Friday comes, and I get pissed. I'm like, what the fuck? Where's my package? And the guy's like, well, here's $5. I'm like, I don't give a fuck about $5, first of all. I just want the goddamn package. Where is it? And he goes, well, wait one more day, right? Fine. I wait till Saturday. Nothing. No shipment movement. Nothing. They just fucking delayed me by another goddamn day. And then finally, on Saturday, I was like, order me a new fucking scope. I had to go through and actually talk to somebody physically and be like, get me a new I just want the fucking scope. Just get it. And now it says again, it's going to be there on Wednesday. So I have no idea if it's really truly going to be there or not. Because he was like texting me on Tuesday going, did it say it arrived? I said, no, it says it's out for delivery. Says it's out for He texted me like 8 times. He was so excited about this stupid fucking scope. And I'm like, I'm sorry, man. It didn't.
Oh, man, it's like telling the kid that superheroes aren't real or some shit. And you You hate to disappoint him.
Right. It sucked in a way, but I mean, I agree. I'm like, okay, look, fine, $5, but this is what I'm fucking paying for. The whole point of Amazon is the convenience. And that's what they like to do. It's like Netflix or any of the new companies. They disrupt and then they go back to the old model of what it was, right?
Until it's a vicious cycle.
To the same model, right? So it's all a load of horse shit in a way where they're like, okay, we're disrupting. Okay, cool. Uber is a taxi service. It's not disrupting. It's just transitioning the cost from, taxi to normal people. They're paying the wear and tear on the fucking cars. They're paying for their own insurance, upping their insurance rates, the damage rates, everything else that has to happen. So it's disrupting for like a second, and then it's back to the same bullshit all over.
Right, because once they price out the rest of the market, it's fucking gone. Now, this is exactly what they've done on Amazon. It used to be, you go on Amazon, you type in, I don't know, you type in a microphone. And the things it brings up are fucking Mackie, brings up Shure, brings up like all these names that you know. And now you go in and it's, China Express. It's fucking goddamn Egg Foo Young. And it's crap. A lot of it is absolute crap. And it is turned into fucking Temu.
Now who's being racist against...
I'm not being racist. You look...
I heard you just say, you racist motherfucker.
Listen here, you. Let me do this. Microphone. I am on the Amazon app right now. First thing it brings up is FIFINEK688.
Oh yeah, the fee fines. I've used those.
The Fifinis.
I have not fucking used those, but
the Marengo. What the fuck is a Marengo? Pile. It's a pile of shit is what it fucking is. These aren't name brands.
Right. Okay, but here's another question. Would you rather have the name brand Chinese copy or a fee fine Chinese name brand?
No, give me the name brand gives me fucking security, okay? If I'm buying a Chevrolet, I want to know that it's a goddamn Chevrolet. I mean,
but the fee fines are pretty much the same fucking thing.
But they're not. Okay. So there's an illusion of equivalency here. I'm a locksmith by trade. That's what I do. So part of what I do is helping people get into their cars after they've stupidly locked their dumbasses out. So when I first got started, I needed tools. What the hell just happened? I just lost all video.
You're on still. Can you hear me?
Yep, I got you. I think it's my Elgato box thing is acting up. Again, whatever. But I bought these fucking airbags. So the whole idea is you get it behind the top corner of the door. It's like a blood pressure cuff. You pump up the bulb and it pushes the door out so you can get a rod in there and do what you need to do with the locks to get the door open.
Okay.
Normally these are like if you get the good stuff with the cushion on the outside so you're not marring the door, these things can go $30 on up depending on what you're buying. I found them on Temu thinking I was getting a great deal. I can get 3 of these fucking things for $6.99. I'm like, fucking A, okay. The valve doesn't seal, so it has a constant leak down. So it starts out like this, it just like a cold day. It does not seal. It does not fucking pump up. The bulb is garbage. The valve on the end of the bulb that's supposed to prevent air from leaking out lets air leak out. And so it's a false sense of equivalency. It's not the same shit.
Okay, but let me say this. Now, I have done the same thing, and I've ordered a shit ton of stuff from China. I have ordered a lot of chips, a lot of electronics, a lot of, for example, fake microphones.
Right.
I have ordered this stuff, number one, because I'm curious, Number two, it does provide some value in some respects, and I'll explain that in a second.
Gibson is money soon part.
Well, okay. The chips, I have to be honest, aside from certain things that you can pretty much, if you're a curious person and you are a problem solver, you can pretty much get a $20 chip for $1, right? And
okay, but the whole purpose is not to have to be a problem solver yourself. The whole purpose is for that chip to solve the fucking problem.
money, you gotta be a problem solver in some ways, okay?
Fuck's sake.
It's like the guitars. I tell everybody this because I get excited. The guitars, the finish of the guitar that I've ordered some fake guitars. I've ordered 2 or 3 of them. The finish on those guitars is amazing. The feel of those guitars is also somewhat amazing. It feels like a Gibson neck. It feels like a Strat neck, man.
Man, you're gonna have fucking people knocking on your door. Gibson can be like, "Bitch, better have my money."
Ones I bought. I'm not admitting what I'm paying, but what I'm saying here is it's good enough to give me a Gibson feeling. Now, if I replace the pickups, maybe some accessories here and there, it probably would be hard to tell that it's not an actual Gibson. Or, for example, I bought a PRS. I had a PRS and a Gibson, and I have had a Gibson, so I know what a Gibson. I have Gibsons. I know what they feel like. I know what a PRS feels like. I know what a Strat feels like. These play like them. When you restring them, you bring them into tune a little bit. Maybe you put some better hardware on them, etc. You spend another $100 on it. It's applicable. Now, if you were to ask me, am I going to go on tour with that guitar? Say we're rock stars. Of course not. I'm going to spend $2,000 on the Fender to get the real deal. This is like your Chevy thing. But if I'm hanging this guitar in my room, in my guitar room, as to be like, look what I got, or to be like, I've got one, it's cool, there it is, right? You know, it's like a collectible. Yeah, it's not bad for the price of that, right? You can pull it down, noodle around on it, cool.
I'm gonna argue with you semantically on that premise. If I'm going on tour, I'm not taking a $2,000 guitar. I'm just fucking not. If I'm going on tour, I'm taking goddamn the Walmart shit. First act, fucking. As long as the pots aren't scratchy, it's gonna work.
It's a Chinese guitar, first of all. Okay, first of all. Second of all, this is where you would, and this is the poor mentality that I've talked about. Okay, now I'm not saying that the poor mentality is something that is okay. The poor mentality, let me just explain this really quick too.
You mean financially poor versus bad?
Right. And when we're in operation, you can't have a poor mentality, because the financially poor mentality that you and I have, and I had this too, is that we have to safeguard what we buy, right? We have to buy a cheap guitar to prevent the good guitar from getting scratched or whatever. But this is a perfect example of, if you're on tour, the tour would support the guitar. The guitar is the tool. You want to buy the best tool that you have, the best tool that you need, so you should have a rich mentality and spend the most on a guitar that will perform under duress, right? Because we know clones, they're going to go out of tune, the strings are going to break, the shit's going to, fall off. If you were going to grab that guitar and smash it into the ground, buy a $50 first act, $100 Chinese guitar. You're playing something with B.B. King, I don't give a shit who you're playing with, okay? I just threw that name out there, but let's say
I was going to say, that man's been dead for like 15 years, but neither here nor there.
you're the new Zakk Wylde and Ozzy is on stage with you. You are buying the best guitar that you can have, because you need it. You need it to perform. If the temp drops from 65 to 62, we all know what that feels like when you're out there playing and it fucks with your fingers and shit like that. You need the best.
Well, that's where your Gibson's going to fuck you, because the tonal fucking retention on that during temperature changes on the Gibson, just absolute trash, but neither here nor there.
Mentality that I'm talking about, though. When you are in a situation that requires it, you have to use the best that you can. That's the point of buying the best that you can. You need the best that you can. If you're in a situation that doesn't require it, go all ham, right? This is what I'm talking about as far as poor mentality.
So where I have the problem is that you're buying quote unquote, an inferior product. You go into it knowing that you're going to have to make tweaks and make changes in order for it to do what you want it to do. And I kind of disagree with that, because that's your money. That's something that you've worked hard for. You shouldn't have to make changes on something that's brand new in order to get it to the functional level where it's supposed to be. I mean, it's like buying fucking suspension parts for your car. I mean, sure, you can go to Alibaba and get suspension parts for your car, but I tell you what, you're going to know those are Alibaba parts within like 30 months.
Okay, and that's also true, but we're talking again now about value. So if I spend $250 on one of these cheap Chinese guitars, right, as opposed to $1,000, $2,500, spending an extra $100 to set that guitar up properly, put some hardware on it, or maybe even $200, you're looking at, again, $400, $500. That's not bad for a guitar that plays like it should, set up like it should, has the correct pickups, all the stuff that you need. And again, this is like a beater car, right? This is technically a beater car. We're not talking about performing car. We're talking about beater car. I'm not racing this car. I don't depend on this car to do deliveries. I don't depend on...
It's a toy versus a tool.
Right, exactly. So the poor mentality doesn't come into play here, or maybe it does in the sense that I can go cheap on this. I can go cheap. I can look cheap. I can be cheap on it. Nobody fucking cares because it is technically cheap. Whereas if I needed it to perform, I want the best I can get. I want the best available, right, to make sure. Backups. I'd have a backup of a backup. That's why the guitar kits would be $10,000, because you got 3 extra guitars, different tunings, different pedals, everything that's a backup of a backup. That way you're secure, right?
You got redundancy built in and all that.
Not the cheap Chinese guitar onto it. But if I'm going to noodle around with it, look like I got a shit ton of guitars in my guitar room, yeah, why not? Why not? It's like...
See, I'd be more paranoid about that expensive guitar coming up missing from backstage, or somebody breaking into the van. So, I mean, there's a logistical thing to that. But, I mean, like, okay, so you're sticking with guitars. I mean, like, your low-end brands, well, low-end, I've got a Squier Strat that I've had since, day one, since I started playing guitar. And I love the feel of that guitar. I mean, so much so that I've bought other ones. So I've got a total of 3 Squier guitars, and I honestly prefer the feel of them over a Fender. Now I've gone through and I've done exactly what you've said. I've sunk more than the guitar is worth in pickups and potentiometers and wiring and shit just to make them sound the way I want them to sound. But that's not a necessity. So with a lot of these things that you're getting, you're talking about fighting with a piece of equipment that's not providing you the functionality that it should be providing, should it have been a name brand thing.
Well, that's my point in this, is that it is the tool for the job, also the mentality. If I'm doing a podcast and it's me and you and I don't give a shit, why not buy a Philly Billy?
Fuck you and not giving a shit doing a podcast with me, you goddamn cocksucker. Fucker. You piece of shit.
Microphone. Why not buy one of those, right? But if I'm doing a podcast where we're in person, right, I need a mixer. I need, things that, and a good setup. I mean, in general, you want a good setup, but you can afford to buy the best you can for the situation that you need it. If I don't need it, why wouldn't I buy a fee fine for $30, right? Because then I can go, hey, look, $30 really fulfills my purpose in this sense. $100 fulfills my purpose over here.
See, I watch, more or less listen to Adam Savage's Tested quite a bit. Now, he comes into all the diminishing returns aspect of things. He talks about it quite a bit, especially when it comes to tools. He's famously said, buy the best tool that you can for right now. Like, if you're just starting out with something, don't go to the fucking top end friggin' $15,000 guitar. get yourself something that'll work, that'll do what you needed to do while you're learning. Spend $200-$300 on an expensive guitar and go with it until you decide it's something you're going to stick with, or if ultimately end of the day you can sell that damn thing back on marketplace for a little bit of nothing. But I mean, I have a problem with going in and but I have an issue with that mentality. There's a certain, I think, problem with the way we grew up, an elitism, if you will. Yeah, fine. Yeah. 33.52 for a. Now, don't get me wrong. There's some really good stuff out there, like Behringer stuff. I don't think has ever let me down. The freaking preamps are really solid, and they're inexpensive. What's the other brand? Thomann. They're European. They like. You can get an SG lookalike, I think, for like $270.
But this is what I'm talking about. Thomann most definitely is made in a Chinese factory with a name slapped on it, right? I mean,
I haven't gotten that far into it.
If you're relying on a Chinese tool to open a door, right? Or let's not be racist and say Chinese. If you're relying on a knockoff tool to open a door, it's not going to work out for you. If you're relying on a knockoff tool to fuck around with, of course, why not? Why not? $33 is worth, what is this? This is a, okay, I just clicked on it. It's a gaming audio mixer, 4-channel RGB mixer with an XLR interface, buttons, sound effects, auto tune. It's got 1, 2, 3.
I'm sorry, just looking at that thing, I'm afraid it's going to steal my social security number. I don't know why. It gives me the ick, and I don't want to.
Shark, you got shit that you can use to just an audio device. It's just an XLR input is what it looks like to me. I don't see any. Is there a USB plug on it even? Oh yeah, okay, there is. There's a USB-C plug on it. So it's basically a sound card. It's a cheap sound card.
It's an I/O device, yeah.
At this price, even at this price, you can buy it to test it and fuck around with it. Because, and this is what I get excited about, because if I can find a cheap chip, right? Like say I want the chip costs me $20, and I find one for $5, right? I get excited to test them out against each other, to go, I'll buy the 20, I'll buy the 5, I got 2 for 25, basically cut that difference in half, see how they run against each other. If they run well, I'm happy, right? Because most of the shit that I do isn't.
You're not putting on somebody on life support or anything like that.
This is me fucking around designing something stupid that just, moves a servo or something like that. It's not important. If it fails, I buy a new one. Big deal. But if I am buying something that if somebody's on life support, you got to spend the money. You have to have the redundancy. You have to have all of that shit. So, if we're not talking life serious, which most things aren't, I still don't see why we can't fuck around. Fuck around and find out, man. Fuck around.
Well, literally, that's where we're at. But I mean, okay, so that doesn't give you any insecurity at all. Well, again, I guess we're talking like non-mission critical things. But mission critical things, like say engine components or things like that, you want to know that you've got a Cali crank in there. I'm
paying premium for a mission critical component that I expect to work. So again, my poor mentality changes here in the sense that I'm guaranteeing that this product is either US or redundancy or premium component. And when that fails, then I can flip shit. I don't need to protect it, right, and get a cheap one up front. That's wasting my time and my money because the cheap one will fail eventually. I go for the best first, which, again, that's buy the best you can because you expect that to last. When that fails and you have to rely on your backup, if your backup's cheap or whatnot, hopefully it gets you through. If you've got a good redundancy backup, then you're okay, right? And then you can flip shit on the first one and go, dude, I paid so fucking much for this thing. There's a premium, blah, blah, blah. You take it back.
Hopefully there's a fucking warranty and there's some security in that. Whereas, I guarantee you, you're not finding a fucking warranty on a fee fine.
Right, exactly. But that's the point. I approach this with that, changing my mentality. It's the way that I look at things now instead of the other way where
I'm too old to be changing my goddamn mentality. Fuck this shit. If you can't make a good goddamn product, don't put it on the fucking market and waste my goddamn time making me wait for goddamn 2 fucking weeks for this shit that comes up in a busted ass box. Water's in here. I got spiders. Now I got bed bugs in the house. What the fuck?
I don't want to know what you're ordering that you get bed bugs in the house.
Just an old man ranting. Just an old man ranting.
I guess because I just don't. I don't know about that one, man. But yeah, that's that one's on you. So
Yeah, it's entirely on me. Yeah, don't buy secondhand bedding.
buy secondhand bedding. Okay.
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah, that one's a
That's iffy to say the bit. Iffy to say the very least.
yeah. That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a new. See, okay, you learn something every day. Don't buy secondhand bedding, right? And
There's the title of the fucking episode.
I think we got it, man. I think we got it.
Yeah, buddy.
Is,
Stop that one. Stop that one.
That's it?